He said, tell you what, we're going to give you exclusive rights to the debate. And we did that because they are the one locally owned television station, wanted to give them the rights. So Channel 9
Griffin
did what they could. Yeah, Griffin did what they could to try to set up the debate. The mayor is essentially like, no, forget about it. I got to go be on some silly talk show, talk about fat people.
Yeah, you're right. What's her name? Kellyanne Johnson or something. Anyway, we need to take a break. We're going to get deep, because I want to know. I want to know what you know. I want our people to know what you know, because actually I was for it. I'm for a big city. I'm for whether I go down to 3 games or not. I would like more and more to come in Oklahoma City, and I was for it. Period. But we had individuals leading up to the vote calling saying, "Fred, you're crazy." Saying, "Hey, you are crazy. I'm not gonna vote for some rich man to get richer. I'm not, because I don't know all of the crap that goes along with it." So we had individual citizens calling in and saying, "This is crap. We need to know more. We need to know what's going on." But we hear our mayors and what he's telling us what we need to do. But we're going to know more in just a moment with Steve Hunt.
I was really excited about the Big City League, but it's looking, as of listening to Steve this morning, it's turning out to look like a big city joke.
It's the Open Mic Talk Show with Launa West and Fred Elkins Jr. We'll be back. Let's return back to the Open Mic Talk Show with Launa West and Fred Elkins Jr.
You're talking about high blood pressure and diabetes, low sexual drive and stuff like that. And there's a product out, and we're going to...
I was talking about that?
Yes, we talked about that off microphone, but that's all right. I won't bust you.
Okay.
Because we were talking about this Mexico Chino Incorporated. There will be guests on the show later on. Joan Chris Alovera, and it's a product.
And that's some good stuff, I've heard.
Yep. You've heard?
I've heard.
You don't have any of that?
I don't. I would like to try it,
We're going to get some.
Okay.
We're going to get some.
All right. You can do that.
I'll take some for a week, and you take some for a week, and we'll see how we feel after 2 or 3 weeks if we come in here feeling frisky or whatever. Anyway, I don't know how it's supposed to make you feel, Anyway. Hey,
I'm sorry.
There are sponsors.
Steve's
you don't have to apologize to Steve. Steve probably
yes, I do.
trying to get him some, too.
Yeah.
What?
Really.
Steve Hunt, yeah.
That's
Steve,
where it's mine. You have to kind of work
studio.
with them.
They are the sponsors for our first hour of Open Mic, and we're talking with you, and we appreciate it, and we will talk with them a little bit later on. Don't forget our toll-free line is sponsored by Bedlam Mortgage, and it's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
It's wide open.
The number is 1-866-818-5877 or star 1140. It's free. It's AT&T, and it is definitely wireless.
Yes,
also,
it
you can
is.
give us a call here in Oklahoma. The number to call is 460-1140. Talking to Steve Hunt, who's with the Oklahoma Media Awareness Alliance, and we were talking off the air, and what I want to know is what are we not hearing in the media? I mean, what is some of the information that you have that maybe we don't know about?
Well, I think that one common misconception that we hear a lot is about the so-called liberal media, and that's the one thing that's the biggest problem, and we need to all be concerned about that. And really, honestly, media, for the most part these days, is controlled by very powerful interests, very moneyed interests. And whenever there is a story that is going to hurt the bottom line, or the shareholders aren't going to approve of, you're more or less not going to hear it. And this most recent thing, the March 4 vote, was a perfect example of that. It was so hard for us to get our word out because, like I said, I went through the numbers. All the TV stations received massive amounts of money for advertisements. They even ran public service announcements, who I believe were made by the same company that made the ads, which is, I'm not sure if it's an ethics violation, but I'm sure it's pretty close. So another thing, the other two big radio stations, Citadel and Clear Channel, they didn't want to say anything bad because they're going to be jockeying for the rights to broadcast the games. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that it should stay at a local station, but that's probably something that's going to be further on down the road. So that's one of the many problems with the state of the media today. But there are a lot of good people getting involved in the fight. Like I said, Oklahoma Media Awareness Alliance works loosely with a group by the name of Free Press. founded by Robert McChesney, who's out of Illinois, University of Illinois, Urbana. And you can check out their website, freepress.net. Every 18 months they host something called the National Conference of Media Reform. A couple of really good FCC commissioners attend. Last time, hip-hop historian Davey D was there, Amy Goodman from Democracy Now!, Phil Donahue, and just a wide range, not just left, right, everyone.
Well, you mentioned Donahue, and I thought immediately liberal.
Yeah. Well,
Liberal.
he probably is, but he doesn't have a problem with discussing issues. So,
what was so bad? And we'll get into that. And I want to tell our listeners, if you have a question for our guest, if you're trying to find out what's going on, what he's talking about, say, well, what the hell are you talking about? Because who would want to be against having a pro team here in the city? What did the media do? They didn't disinform us. Or maybe because I told you, I said, hey, we own the station, the
Ford
facility,
mm-hmm.
So therefore they're going to pay rent. And you told me that if they pay $1 million a year,
right?
It's a million years or whatever.
Today they're discussing at City Council whether or not they should sign this agreement that they have come up with,
mm-hmm.
and you can go to okc.gov and read that agreement. Basically, it's going to be the rent is going to be between $1 million to $1.5 million per year. Well, if you do the math, we've got a $200 million stadium. None of us will be alive when they've given us back our money. Also, the practice facility that they want to build, $20 million practice facility, the rent there is going to be $500,000. This was not discussed at all on the lead up to the vote, as were a number of other things. Probably the biggest thing was the fact that no one ever said that the team will not come if we vote no. That was a myth that was propagated towards the latter days of the vote. You'll remember possibly like in early February, a political strategist group that ran the campaign by the name of CMA Strategies was running this thing for them. And something that's interesting to do, and will give people a good perspective on how these things work, is if you look at their website, cmastrategies.com, you see that they do grassroots advocacy, so-called, and
mm-hmm.
they say that they do it to give people a voice in the community and for their leaders. Well, Big League City was run by Mick Cornett, and
mm-hmm.
so CMA Strategies, they're going to help this group speak to powerful people. Why does Mick Cornett need to get a group to hire so that he can talk to himself?
And he's our mayor. Let me try to take this call. We got to take a break, come back, and open the phones up and let some individuals still that's trying to get a grasp of what we're talking about and what we did, what we voted on, what has already been passed, whether it's going to be hurtful, helpful. Where do we go from here as far as the measure, what did you call it, a subsidy?
Yes.
Is that what you call it? A subsidy, and what it means to the media, and who's going to broadcast and who's going to make the money. Good morning. Are you there, caller?
Good morning, Fred.
Yes, you have a question for our guest.
Launa.
Good morning.
Listen, my question is this here. Steve, right?
Yes.
Steve Hunt, yes.
Steve, now you talked about this money. What I'm interested in knowing is the return on investment. Now, we have invested money into these MAPS projects, and this last vote was to extend it again. Do you have any information as far as what kind of money do we have coming back into the city concerning these investments that we have made as taxpayers?
Thank you.
Well, that's a good question, because I think specifically with the Big League City vote, the main point was how much business it's going to bring into the city. The most telling point with that is that they did not hire an independent financial consultant to look at this and to do the numbers, because they know that they would discover that it does not return a good investment. Now, with regards to the prior MAPS projects, it's really hard to say. I think that the question that people should have asked themselves is, are the prior MAPS projects even completed yet? Does John Marshall have the computers that they were promised? They don't. Do the elementary schools have the carpet or the...
Is Douglas looking the way it was supposed to look?
Right, and I think that if the media would have asked these questions, would have gone out and looked at the prior MAPS projects and say, are they